You have goals, and it's time you reached them faster. You have dreams, and it's time you make them a reality. Massive life transformation starts now. It's Tampa Bay's performance power couple, certified coach and performance specialist Dana Medlin and certified coach and behavior analyst Michael Medlin. Get ready to transform your actions. It's time for the Action Hour.
Welcome to the Action Hour. I'm your host, Dana Medlin, and I'm joined by my smart and sexy co-host and husband, Mr. Michael Medlin. How you doing over there?
I'm always doing good. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm really excited about our show today because we're going to be talking about work-life balance, and we love this topic of balance because this is a unique area that we specialize in at Actions Transform.
I mean, so many times we're told to leave our life and our problems at the door, when we come to work, and the reality is real life affects your job. Your job affects your life, and no one is, successful at leaving their life at the door. Your life is still there. I mean, you're getting text messages all day through it. I mean,
really, your life you can't escape your life. It doesn't escape you. It's on your mind. It's affecting your performance, your productivity. It affects how you're interacting with other members of your team, or worse yet, it affects how you interact with your external customers. So when we're coaching our clients, our employer clients, we get them to have a different approach. We advise them to have a performance coach, someone who is actually trained in behavior to provide an environment and provide tools to aid an individual in managing their mindset, managing their actions, their communications. And this is also that your employees are not left with like added stress and anxiety of an internal struggle between the two most important aspects of their lives, their personal life and their professional life.
I mean, it was just a few years back when I was working for one of the larger virtual education companies in the world. And, when I started out, I was hitting all of my, KPIs, and I was succeeding as an employee, doing very, very well. And then my personal life began to seep into it.
Yeah.
And it was, it was this culture of only work, only being able to talk about what was specifically, work related. There was no employee program. There was no counseling. There was nothing that was there. I didn't feel that I could talk to, my supervisor about what was going on.
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving that company because I didn't want to get, let go because I wasn't able to, balance the two, but there wasn't any open door sort of thing that was going on.
Well, and what was it that was going on that was causing you to miss some of those key performance indicators?
Well, I mean, one of the things that they didn't know is when I had first taken the job, my brother had just been diagnosed with ALS.
Oh.
And so, we're watching someone who was, fully functioning, begin to lose his ability to use his hands, his feet, he needed more and more help. And so, my mother was doing everything she possibly could. She was a school teacher at the time, taking time off and all that, but she needed help. And, that company could have kept me on. They could have kept me much, much longer if that barrier between the two.
Yeah.
But my problems had to be left at the door.
No. See, ensuring that there's a healthy work-life balance, that should be part of every employer's wellness program. And if not, if you're an employer who doesn't even have a wellness program in place, please contact us.
Please.
Like, we can make a split program where employers cover a portion of the cost and employees cover a portion.
If the employer sees, the true value in it, they can cover the entire cost knowing that it actually adds to their bottom line in terms of improved productivity, retention, loyalty.
Absolutely.
Every dollar spent, we've been able to show people it comes right back.
Definitely. And this way, as coaches, we can take a holistic approach to successfully merging someone's work and personal life, but we can do it in a healthy and productive manner. We can become that legal, ethical, and moral bridge between those aspects of an employee's life that most employers, because of HR issues, they're just afraid to get into.
Yeah, we're trained in corporate culture, that you can't talk about personal life or else, you get sued. That happens all the time. And there's been numerous studies and surveys conducted that conclusively show that work-life balance, it improves happiness, it improves overall job satisfaction.
Yep.
It does wonders as a tool to increase morale, and it improves that company culture. Employees seek out companies now that support a healthy work-life balance. The only factor more important than balance to job seekers, compensation.
Of course, all about that money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
So, I mean, let's face it, employees are more invested in companies that support a work-life balance.
I couldn't agree more. I was, back in the day, I was a sales and performance coach for a national real estate tech company in their Orlando branch. And as part of the management team, we created a culture of compassion that really spoke to our core values. And our core values were, family first and work-life balance. But within that environment, employees didn't feel like they had to make up stories about being sick because they knew they could take a mental health day if that's what they needed. In fact, I encouraged mental health days because I know I needed them, but they knew that there was never a need to, kill themselves working 40 plus out, more than 40 hours a week, just so long as those KPIs, the key performance indicators, were met. So they were empowered to manage their workloads. And so the focus was then on the well-being of the employee with special attention to their work-life balance. And because of that, they were more productive. They were more present. And I will say the company had less than a 1% attrition year after year. And that speaks volumes.
Low. And there's so many more companies that are actually moving away from separating, vacation and sick and all that, and just making PTO.
Right.
Let employees use it as they need to use it. I mean, think about how less anxious and more empowered you feel when you don't have to pretend to be a robot who's completely void of human emotion.
Exactly.
I mean, it's unnatural, and we resent employers that make us go through that. If we shift the way we think about employees, and instead of thinking of them as employees, think of them as human capital. I mean, they're an investment. You wouldn't go out and buy a $100,000 piece of equipment and then say, well, we're just going to skip the maintenance on it.
Right.
And that's really what this is.
I love that example because nobody's going to spend or outlay a significant amount of money and then not take care of that expenditure. So we just hammered employers on why work-life balance is so important and the benefits to them, their employees, their bottom line, all of that. But what can we do as individuals to see to our own levels of balance? Because ultimately, as you know, Michael, we're all going to be responsible for ourselves. So there are ways that we can remain balanced while working to improve productivity without hitting that burnout mark, because that's what we're all trying to avoid. But then there are ways to improve balance when you're not at work so you can maximize your downtime. And so we have got tips for both. Ha-ha.
Always.
All right. So if we're talking about how to actually obtain a healthy balance, there are some things that you can do right now, today, that's going to immediately provide some relief. And so we made this big, long list. We probably won't get to it all, but at the very top of the list, I put this here because it's most applicable to me, I think. The first thing to do is to let go of the idea of perfectionism.
You would say you're a perfectionist?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, this is something I can so relate to because I struggle with letting go of everything, and it's because it seems like it was so much easier when we were kids. We were only having to juggle like school and an extracurricular activity or two, maybe even a part-time job. But now we've got the entire world on our shoulders that we're juggling. We're making power moves at work. The size of families have grown. You have bills, but being perfect is unrealistic. And I can tell you from experience that it's unhealthy to pursue, So in our practice, what we tell our clients is that the healthier option is to strive for perfection with the hopes of achieving excellence, because excellence is actually attainable and it's less stressful of a pursuit.
And, employers, you can help with this too. One of the biggest problems that we run into when we talk to employers is that they do not well define people's jobs. In education, we use rubrics where we give the job and then we give exact detail on exactly what we expect. Many times employees are trying to reach this unrealistic level of perfection, and it's actually a massive waste of time because they're never going to get it to that level of perfect, and they could have moved on to other work that you needed to get done.
Exactly.
So the more an employee knows exactly what you want done and to what degree, they grow to master that expectation. It lessens anxieties, and they end up not wasting more time trying to be more perfect than what you need.
Absolutely. I love it. When we come back, we're going to dive even deeper into how to maintain more balance, and we're going to share a story or two. And then coming up this hour, we're going to welcome fashion and beauty blogger Sarah Tanatra and hear how she weathered some obstacles and fears while launching her business. And then later, we've got an all-new Behavior Self. And this week's letter is from a teacher. So I guess this is kind of our back-to-school edition of Behavior Self. So we've got a lot to share. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Turn heads this summer with the help of Medi Weight Loss. Lose up to 20 pounds the first month with a medically supervised weight loss program that's tailored to meet your specific needs. Their team of trained medical professionals will guide you, ensuring that you lose the weight and keep it off. Get started today. Call 877-MED-LOSS and book your free assessment. That's 877-MED-LOSS. Locations Tampa, Brandon, and Lutz. On average, patients on individualized restricted calorie program lose 6.4 pounds the first week and 14 pounds the first month. Medical supervision required.
Welcome back to the Action Hour. We are talking today about work-life balance, and it's such a huge aspect of all of our lives. And so what we want to do is give tips and recommendations for how to obtain a healthy balance in your life. And right before the break, we had gone into the very first recommendation, which was to let go of the idea of perfectionism and just strive for excellence instead. So just strive for excellence.
Easy,
I mean, that's hard enough.
Just be excellent instead of perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more achievable. The second recommendation we're going to make, and this is going to be really hard for a lot of people, but we're going to recommend that you unplug. You know, all of this technology is supposed to be making our lives easier and more convenient. But the expectation of constant accessibility, it's actually damaging our mental and physical health. So there was a study done by a psychology professor at Harvard Medical School by the name of Robert Brooks. And he wrote a book entitled The Power of Resilience, Achieving Balance, Confidence, and Personal Strength in Your Life. And let me tell you how much I love this book.
It was great.
It was so great. And here's why. In the book, he talks about how phone notifications interrupt our off time and inject an undercurrent of stress in your system.
It's so true.
And I was like, what? This rang so true to me because this inject an undercurrent of stress. I would be the one sitting at my son's soccer game and texting or sending work emails at, family while I'm hanging out with family and friends. It was literally robbing me of the moment and just being present. But when you unplug, you actually make quality time. So not having to react to every little update from work. You're going to be developing this habit of resilience. And in the book, Brooks goes on to talk about how resilient people feel a greater sense of control over their lives. So in that aspect, it's a marvelous stress management technique as well.
And we've talked about in the past about, turning off electronics, 30 minutes to an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah.
People who use their phone all the way up to time to go to sleep actually enter into REM state sleep much, much later, than those that don't.
And the quality of the sleep is not there.
And the quality of sleep is affected. For employers, I like to go back and forth between what employers can do. And what we really suggest is make a rule of no contact for work outside of work hours.
Yes.
I mean, none. Every single email system that I've ever seen has a scheduler.
Yeah.
So if you want to work late, if you want as a business owner 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, that's great. Use the scheduler, send the email, during normal business hours, have it there arrive when they get there, but don't rob your employee because they feel that underlying need to respond to it. You're sitting at the soccer game and you're thinking, it's been 30 minutes. I haven't responded to my boss's email or his text or whatever.
Exactly.
Their downtime is what recharges them to do what they need the following day. So leave them alone.
Leave them alone. And that's going to be hard. I mean, Michael, you and I, we've been employees and we've been employers, and it's hard from both sides. But the quality of life on both sides improves drastically when you institute some of these measures. So our next recommendation, and we've said this one before as it relates to other aspects of your life like stress management, but exercise and meditate. We talked about the feel-good endorphins that get released during exercise. I mean, it's an instant mood enhancer. But here's the thing. We know that there are some people that are truly more pressed for time than others, So if working out truly isn't a feasible, activity for your schedule, then just start small and just take a moment to just focus on your breathing. I mean, you're breathing anyway,
Yeah.
So just pause and focus on deep cleansing breaths, and this is something that you can do during your commute to work, while you're taking a shower, before your next conference call, or like Michael said, take those 5 minutes before you go to bed and just breathe and take purposeful, deep cleansing breaths. Breathing exercises, they require no effort, minimal effort, but they have huge payoffs.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I love to do is I love to manipulate my environment too.
Yeah.
You can use music. I mean, when we've talked about different types of music can actually increase oxytocin, which, that's the really good feel good one.
That's a really good feel good.
Yeah. And then there's certain smells. I mean, we know lemon is a mood enhancer.
Yep.
You have things like lavender, which is, more of a calming. So depending on what you need to accomplish, during that 5-minute break, you can manipulate that environment and get even a better bang for your buck. Going back to employers, one of my biggest suggestions, make lunchtime downtime.
Oh, yes.
Value their time away from work, even when they are at work. Allowing your employees time to do stretches, yoga, meditation, whatever, while they're at lunch, it makes a world of difference to energy levels on the second half of the day.
Right.
I mean, ask yourself this: do you want your employees after lunch in a carb coma, or do you want them fresh from some sort of invigorating downtime?
Oh my goodness, I couldn't agree more. In my years of corporate management, I've worked for companies that require working lunches.
I hate those.
Oh my goodness. Or worse yet, the ones that require you to remain on the premises during lunch as if we're still in high school or something, But I've also had the ones that required you to unplug, get some fresh air, take a walk, eat, laugh, just enjoy the downtime however you can. And I'll tell you, take a guess at who had the more productive, loyal, engaged employees.
Yeah, that's someone's hard to figure out.
Yeah. So our next recommendation, and again, everything we say, it sounds simple, but if it were simple, more people would do this. But limit time-wasting activities and time-wasting people. And again, this is going to be hard for a lot of people because a lot of people are afraid to be selfish with their me time. But set some boundaries and set some priorities. Focus on the people and activities that reward and fuel you the most. Because the reality is, if you're not okay, then you're going to be useless to anyone else anyway. If you notice that Facebook is sending you down a spiral of cat video rabbit holes, and offering no return, then switch it up. Find a new activity. Going to work every morning. If you get there and you're hanging out at the cliche water cooler, participating in office gossip, and it's proving not to be the best use of your time, then bow out. You don't owe anybody anything. The better you are to yourself, the better you're going to be to anyone else, especially the important people in your life, your kids, your spouse, your boss, your employees. And
it's always that, that guy who says, I have absolutely no time in my life, that's, there at the office 60, 70 hours a week. But
Exactly.
He's also the one that's at the water cooler and this and that. You're wasting time at work, which is cutting into your personal time. On, an employer end, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it as nice as possible.
Be nice.
The 2 words, meetings suck.
Oh, do they ever?
I have worked for employers that think that everything has to, we're changing the color of our, typewriter. Let's have a meeting about it. No. Look at some of the most successful companies in the world. People like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban, they have very, very strict schedules when it comes to, meetings. And you'll see a few policies about meetings that make so much sense. 1, you have the fewest meetings possible.
Yes.
If the information can be sent in an email or any other format, do it that way. Let people work and read it on their time.
Right.
Second rule, fewest people coming as possible.
Key personnel only.
If you have someone sitting in a meeting going, I bring nothing to this meeting and I'm getting nothing out of this meeting.
Why am I here?
You're wasting their work time. They in their mind have scheduled what work they need to get done. And if you're adding multiple hours worth of meetings, you're wasting their work time, which means now they're going to have to stay later. You're wasting their personal time.
Right.
And then the last one, keep your meetings short as possible. You know, those meetings that drag on and on because that one person raised their hand a million times and you're just like, shut up. You know, you just want them to be quiet.
We've all have had that person in one of our meetings. But that was a great example, though. I want to talk about one of our clients. And Michael, we're just going to call him Bob because I don't want to actually use his name. But Bob is the CEO of a small but growing company. He works long hours, or he did work long hours, but he never seemed to really accomplish anything. And to make matters worse, he always felt like he was a failure because neither his work nor his personal life were meeting his expectations. So he reacted like a lot of us would. You know, he got less sleep and he took time away from his hobbies, but this didn't solve anything. So stressed out and exhausted, Bob had a heart attack at work.
And that's when he called us.
And that's when he called us because his doctor told him, you have to take more time for yourself. And he said, but I don't have any more time. Well, yeah, we took a deep dive into Bob's life and his work. And it turns out Bob had all kinds of time, right? What he didn't have was boundaries. He didn't have priorities, and he didn't have a value-based schedule. So when we looked at his current habits and, you know, what his routines were, we identified the changes that needed to be made to give him more balance in his life. And so the point of this example is don't be like Bob. You know, don't wait until you have a heart attack. Don't wait until your business is suffering, or worse yet, don't wait till your business fails. You know, institute these techniques now, create the boundaries and prioritize and make the best use of your time.
And you can do this, you know, through just changing the structure of your life. And we see this all the time in our coaching practice. You know, people fall into this rut and they have no idea how to get out of it. And for some reason, we think that our habits and routines can't be changed. I mean, and as behavioral experts, we're here to tell you they absolutely can.
Absolutely, 100% of the time.
I mean, take a look at your life. Identify what changes, you know, you can make that'll make your life easier. And again, if you know, I know this sounds simple, and if it was, everyone would be doing it.
Exactly.
You know, but you have to have that healthy work-life balance. You know, recognize that you may need a little help, and that's okay. You know, that's why we're here, and it's what we do.
And the thing is, changing a habit, it's not easy. It takes time. But knowing that you're worth it and being willing to put in the work that it takes to change is going to be paramount. You know, we've had to do charts of daily activities for clients who needed help in this area, and we have them focus on activities that they enjoy, activities that they're good at, and the things that they value the most. And then everything else on that list, we look to start delegating. You know, who can we outsource these additional tasks to so that we can ease their burden?
And we see owners who are tripping over dollars to pick up dimes all the time. I mean, if you're making a certain dollar amount, $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour, and what you're focusing your time on can be outsourced for less, then why are you doing it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so our last point is to start small and build from there. Well, what do I mean by this? All right. So let me ask you, by show of hands, how many of you out there are still working on your New Year's resolution? Like you started a new diet or exercise program for New Year's and you're already done and back to old habits. Yeah? This is why we do what we do. You know, work-life balance is no different. We set ourselves up to fail by taking on too much too quickly. You can't go from working 80 hours a week and all of a sudden you're just down to 40. You're not going to go from not exercising ever to all of a sudden you're exercising every day. Behavior change doesn't work that way. So we urge our clients to start small and build from there. And we create incremental behavior change plans that allow our clients to see success little by little, day by day. It's intentional and it's successful. All right. After the break, we are going to be talking with fashion and beauty blogger Sarah Tanatra. We're going to hear her story and find out how she manages to make time for herself while building her empire. And later, we've got an all-new BehaviorSelf. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Looking to tone, tighten, or enhance your body while still retaining a natural appearance? Then look no further than Dr. Pedro Solar. Dr. Solar uses a customized approach to cosmetic and reconstructive procedures to the face, body, and breast. Call or go online now to receive $500 off any cosmetic surgery. 813-878-9889. That's 813-878-9889. Reclaim your confidence and discover a new you. Welcome back to the Action Hour. Our guest today is best known to her loved ones as Scooter. She launched her fashion, beauty, and lifestyle blog, Suddenly Scooter, in May of last year, and now has just thousands of fans and followers. So please welcome Mrs. Sarah Tanatra.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me today.
Absolutely, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. So, Sarah, let's dive right into your story. Like, why did you start Suddenly Scooter, and who is it for?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I love clothes and trends and all of that. So my goal was, of course, to share my outfits and where I, find the best finds on sale. But more importantly, I think one thing that I found from other women, in my day-to-day is they would say, oh, I love that. I wish I could wear that. And my goal was that, you can. Like, I want them to feel confident enough to just do it too and take a risk. And so I wanted to kind of share that with other people and empower them to, be able to do the same.
I love that.
So you had a success quote, because we were talking to you earlier, and I think it will speak to a lot of the people that are listening. Can you kind of share that quote and tell us a little bit how it applied to your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really love quotes. I'm like a big Pinterest fan, and when I'm feeling kind of down, that's what I look to kind of get myself out of that rut. But the one that really sticks to me and that I remind myself of in my day to day is you have to do the thing that you think you can't or you cannot, and that's just because there's been so many instances, whether it's in my full-time job or really throughout this journey and launching my blog and getting on social media specifically, that you just have to do it and get over it, and then once you do, you'll feel so proud of yourself, or like it wasn't such a big deal. So do the thing that you think you can't, and then you'll really be surprised at what you can accomplish.
Oh my goodness, you're so inspirational. I just looked at Michael.
Thank you.
She's so inspirational. Like, she's not even in the room.
Pinterest, no.
Yeah, I've been, since we've invited you to come on the show, I've actually been doing some Suddenly Scooter stalking, and I love how your fans respond to you. I love the things that you say. I love the pictures that you post. I mean, you're such a positive, upbeat inspiration. I love it.
I really appreciate that.
But we got to talk about some of the obstacles that you faced and some of the mistakes or failures that you encountered along the way. Talk to us a bit about how you managed to weather those, because nobody reaches success without failing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny is you ask me that, and I feel like, I still continue to fail every day. So
a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no growth without it. So.
There really isn't. And I think it's just a matter of putting yourself out there and being vulnerable enough to know that, hey, you may fall on your face, but you're going to learn from it. So next time it'll be better. But I think just in general, like trying to create a website or getting on social media was probably one of my biggest obstacles, because what's ironic is I work in marketing full time and I've, developed this blog and this following, which is amazing, but I hated social media. I wasn't really big on it for personal use. So it gave me so much anxiety, to the point I would post something and I would literally have a hard time sleeping. So I think that's been, my biggest obstacle is learning how to get into that groove and share more of myself and know that, maybe it sucks, but maybe next time it'll be better. So
it really does. It takes a lot of guts, to put yourself out there, because
it's scary, yeah.
I come from the therapy world, and so social media wasn't, that big of a deal. And yet we still have some people that say some rather unkind things.
Oh, sure.
And
how do you handle that?
I think, I've actually been really pleasantly surprised, because I think I was really fearful there were going to be trolls and mean people, and you see it on other people's posts. And I found a really great group of women through this process that kind of are like-minded and doing the same thing and putting themselves out there, that are really supportive. I think sometimes you find maybe people in your personal life, when you take that leap, aren't as supportive initially as you thought they would be. So,
oh my goodness, did we just have this conversation in the car, Michael? Okay.
Yeah.
It does. It shocks you, right? Yeah. Because you're like, oh, these people that I don't actually know personally or on a personal level are more supportive than maybe some that you found in your personal life. But the nice thing about that is once you deal with it, then your skin kind of thickens up and you get over it, and then nothing really seems to bother you as much as it did before.
Excellent. So let me ask this. What was, along this journey of yours, and you're, getting comfortable putting yourself out there and you're taking these big leaps, what was the best transformational advice that you ever received? And then talk to us about how you applied it to your life, to your journey.
The best transformational advice I would be given was probably just take the first step. Dreams don't work unless you do. So I think it's a matter of just overcoming your own personal fears and anxieties and taking some sort of action. Get out there, learn about what it is that you're wanting to do, or take a free course. The internet is really it's at your fingertips these days.
Exactly.
You can truly be anything that you want to be. All the resources are out there. So just take the first step and know that you're going to fumble along the way, but you can refine it as you go, and you'll get there. Just keep going.
I absolutely love that, because it's what we preach to everyone.
Exactly.
Is to begin to take action. The slowest death is inaction.
Absolutely.
And you don't always have to know how to reach your destination, because a lot of us don't. You start out on a journey, you have no idea what's coming down the pike. You really don't. But the fear of the unknown shouldn't be the thing that stops you. It should be the thing that propels you, because it's going to be a new and different experience, and you're going to learn along the way. And so I wanted to make sure that I asked you that question, because
we got excited when we saw that quote. We were like, we're going to steal that one.
Yes, most definitely.
It's so true, right?
It absolutely is. So, Sarah, talk to us about what good you're currently putting into the world. On this show and in our practice, we're really big on giving back to the community and making sure that, we are supporting those endeavors that just make the world a better place. So what are you doing right now to improve the lives of others?
Sure. So first and foremost, I think that, with the platform that I've created, or that I have, which is really amazing, I try to use it for positive. So I always share my Monday motivational quotes, or try and keep things, just positive overall, whether it's commenting on other people's things or sharing on stories. I think that the world has enough negativity. So, any way that we can be kind to each other. And that's not just social media. That goes as far as being at the grocery store and saying please and thank you, and asking people about their day, because I think that that's lost on so many these days.
So true. We kind of, in our own house, we started to do, a personal challenge of, doing 2 to 3 kind, random acts of kindness every day.
I love that.
And it's getting harder coming over the Selman Bridge.
It's the Howard Franklin.
But
no, today in particular, that the storm is crazy. But the way that we look at it is, if you can do one random act of kindness, or give one kind word, or do one kind gesture one time a day, every day, you've just impacted 365 lives.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so that one small action, and look at the result that you can have. So I love that. So talk to us about the proudest action of your life.
So I was kind of telling you all before we started the show that I am recently married. So I feel like I should say that. Thank you.
Congratulations. Wedded bliss. We live it.
So we got married in April, and I would say that, we were engaged and together for a long time, that should be my proudest moment. And it is one of them, because he's really helped me and supported me throughout this process. And he's a great Instagram husband, even though he doesn't want to be, and I embarrass him. But I think, honestly, my own personal achievement was really just taking the step to publish my blog, because I did deal with the fear and anxiety. So I just got such personal satisfaction from that. So I think that would probably be my proudest moment currently.
Love it. So, Miss Sarah, for those listeners who are not familiar with you or your blog, how can people find you? Where can they find you online? Give us all your socials.
Yeah, absolutely. So both Instagram and Facebook, my name, or my handle is Suddenly Scooter. So you can find me by looking that up. And I would love to meet you guys, virtually or in person.
If you're local to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Are we going to get the story on, where Scooter came from on
Yeah,
that?
I'm so glad you asked.
Every time that we've been in practice at home, or she mentions your name, I'm like, Scooter!
It's probably one of the questions I get the most, and it's actually, my dad gave me that nickname when I couldn't even tell you when. I've had it for so long. So when I was looking to launch this, I was really not wanting to share my own personal legal name, because social media can be scary.
Oh, yeah.
So Scooter just felt like something really personal I could share. And the great thing is, I meet other people and they're like, oh, I know a Scooter. Every time it's always a man. Every time. And I'm like, well, I guess Dad wanted a guy first. So he wanted a boy. Yeah,
that's not awkward.
Yeah. It's memorable.
So, Scooter, talk to, because now I feel like she's family. Your family.
Yeah.
I can call you Scooter now, right? So I'm sure your dad won't mind. Talk to us about your family life. Do you have siblings? Like, I'm the eldest of 5. Michael's the youngest of 4. Where do you fit in your line?
Oh, wow. I'm actually actually the oldest of two, so I grew up with a brother. That was always interesting. I think I've been a bit of a tomboy as a result. So
a tomboy with a fashion blog, now, right?
The irony. But I have a husband and then two wonderful sister-in-laws. So those are the sisters that I've never had.
Oh, that's got to be fun.
Yeah.
So being the eldest, I did not have obviously older siblings, but when I married Michael, I got two older sisters as well. So I love that. That's been a lot of fun. And suddenly, Scooter, Sarah Tanatra, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you both so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. To find more on Suddenly Scooter, go online and Google Suddenly Scooter. She's everywhere. She's awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you both.
All right, we are going to take a break, but when we come back, we've got a brand new BehaviorSelf. It's our back to school edition, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I think we can all admit that adulting can be hard, but don't let stress and personal difficulties keep you from living your best life. At Actions Transform, our behavior coaches can teach you to break unhealthy habits and give you the tools you need to achieve your personal and professional goals. You have everything to gain. Call Actions Transform today at 813-444-2282 or visit us at actionstransform.com. Remember, dreams inspire, but actions transform. Welcome back to the Action Hour, and it is time for our favorite segment. It is BehaviorSelf, where we give our listeners the opportunity to message us either on Facebook or via email, and we give coaching advice right here, right now. So this week's letter reads like this. Dear Dana and Michael, I love your show. Aw. We actually have behavior analysts in our school who work with children with learning disabilities, but I happen to think all the kids could benefit from behavioral therapy. That's why I'm writing to you. I'm a second-year middle school teacher, and I want to really make this year successful and have fun for my students. Every year starts out great, but something always happens. The problem kids start showing their true colors. I lose patience, and then it's just survival mode till the end of the year. Any suggestions? Signed, a Pinellas County teacher. Well, Pinellas County teacher, this is going to be fun. Michael, go get it.
I love this section. I feel like kind of like the behavioral Dear Abby.
Yeah.
The beginning of the school year. I mean, many who listen to the show, they know me as a former behavior analyst and now as a behavior and performance coach. But many years ago, I actually started my journey of helping others as a teacher. I did it for 6 years. And my first position was actually in a maximum security juvenile detention facility for violent offenders.
No one would ever guess that about you.
Well, I got the job because I was actually the only person that would walk through the door. The other two people quit literally during pat down. So, classroom management obviously became like a real necessity real quick.
Yeah.
But before I give you any good advice, let me start off with some of the worst advice that I got right on day one. Many of the old school teachers, they love to say, be hard at the beginning and then slowly let up over the year. And I hate this advice. Behavior change comes from consistency. And so kids look for any way to get around the rules, and every chance that they can get away with it, it reinforces their efforts. So what I say is set your rules, set your standards, and enforce them 100%. No days off. But don't be over the top at the beginning. I mean, you're training them that you're unreasonable and you expect more than you truly do. It's much better to be consistent and to be seen as reasonable. I'm really nice with my corrections for the first few weeks when I taught, and then slowly amp up any punishment procedures I use. But I will tell you, for the first 2 weeks, I focused solely on setting the standard and rewarding anyone who met it. So how we do this, what I like to do is I get kids partially involved in the rule making process, which is, kind of become a standard that most teachers do nowadays.
Yeah.
They have the students help with it. It does help them, get into, buying into the classroom rules and all that when they help create it. Keep the rules short. I never had more than maybe like 5 rules total. I focus on things like, broad categories like respect. And then what you can do is you can get down into it and you can define it. What does respect mean? Like, raising hands before talking, or, don't destroy property, writing on books. Right. Being supportive of everyone's ideas. That's a big one nowadays. Very broad rules, well defined in a class and consistently enforced. It will create an atmosphere that's, it's really conducive to learning. But let me be clear, consistency, 100%. There are no days off when you are training someone's behavior.
Absolutely.
The next one I would say is, really get to know your students. Find out which ones like to be publicly praised, which ones prefer private, and be specific with your praise. This is something I hammer on so often. General praise it's not nearly as effective. Just saying, good job. You didn't really put any effort into it, and the kid's not going to feel it.
Right.
I like, if you say, I like creativity on that project, you really brought that story to life, be very specific in your praise. It means so much more to the kids. Then from there, find out what each kid likes to work for. I mean, I like to work for money.
Don't we all?
Big bags of it. But I grew up, where kids did what they were supposed to do, or else the belt came out and your behind was turned red.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that isn't the case as much anymore. I'll be frank, positive reinforcement gets much better long-term results than physical punishment.
Definitely.
It just does. So once you begin to establish what the kids like to work for, I make a list of reinforcers, that they can choose from. Things like being able to partner up on a project. Some kids will do the exact opposite and ask to, can I work alone? Hey, if it's reinforcing them, then I let them, either way. Some want reading time, skip an assignment, classroom game day. It doesn't have to cost you any money. But the key here, and this is big because teachers fail to do this all the time, go back and ask each month if they have new ideas.
That's important. Yeah.
It's massively important because what it was reinforcing one month may not be the next.
Yeah.
We change our interests, and our interests change over time. One fun way to keep kids on task is to use like a star card. I used to use this, but you make a card with 5 stars on it and you laminate it. And then what you do is you walk around and, each kid puts it on their desk and you randomly fill in a star when you see them doing a behavior that you like. And once they reach all 5 for the day, they get something reinforcing. So, it's a little extra work, but you have an entire class looking, to do what is right. And that makes a teacher's life so much easier.
I'll bet.
And then, on a side note, teachers, now's the time to begin to think about all of your self-care routines. Okay. Teacher burnout is at an all-time high, and it takes a lot of investment in yourself to be able to give to those kids. So it's never wrong to take time for you. So do it.
Oh, my goodness. Take time for yourself. People neglect, especially professionals in any profession. We tend to put ourselves on the back burner. We're the last priority when in reality, and what we hopefully have imparted upon everyone is that you should be your number one priority. Put yourself first so that you can be of stronger, better benefit to everyone else around you. So, Pinellas County teacher, I certainly hope all of that amazing coaching advice is helpful. Please get back in touch with us and let us know how the school year progresses.
And if you run into anything mid-year, reach out to me. I give out more free advice than I think I do, actually get paid for. I'm really awful about it.
That's the truth. Well, this has been such an awesome show, but all good things must come to an end, Mr. Medlin. I know. But for more information on behavior and performance coaching, visit us online at actionstransform.com. And for a complimentary performance appraisal of your business, you can reach us at info@actionstransform.com or call 813-444-2282. To continue today's conversation, be sure to like us on Facebook at The Action Hour and at Actions Transform. If you've missed any part of today's show or even a previous show, you can find them all on our YouTube channel, Actions Transform. Special thanks to our sponsors, Medi Weight Loss. Visit mediweightloss.com to learn more about their medically supervised weight loss program, and Dr. Pedro Solar, board certified cosmetic and reconstructive surgeon. This month, Dr. Solar is offering $500 off any cosmetic surgery. So you can take advantage of that through the month of August. Join us next week. We're going to be talking about life transitions and offering some best practices on how to manage those. We'll also introduce our brand new nonprofit partner of the month, Oldsmar Cares. And if you'd like to submit coaching questions for us to read on the air during BehaviorSelf, send us a message on Facebook at The Action Hour or email us at info@actionstransform.com. All right. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Dana Medlin.
And I'm Michael Medlin, reminding you that dreams inspire, but actions transform. What do Oprah Winfrey, Hugh Jackman, Michael Jordan, even Metallica all have in common? They all had a coach. Performance and personal development coaching isn't just for celebrities. With Actions Transform, you can stop sitting on the sidelines, stop procrastinating, and stop making excuses for not hitting your goals. If you're finally ready to change your life and live up to your full potential, call 813-444-2282 or actionstransform.com.